we're totally going to ignore that there was not a video on Sunday. The reasoning behind that is I was going to voice record on Saturday, and then I had to kind of babysit my dog because she decided to go and break a toe and needs constant supervision to make sure that she doesn't do anything that she shouldn't do, because she does not like being in her crate. And I think does not like is probably a bit of an understatement, considering that at some point last week she decided to rip up the entire sponge bed that she has. That bed is no more, of course. So yeah, welcome to episode 90 of Minecraft Creative, in which today we are building lots and lots of tunnels and doing lots of, I think copper golem related things again, because that's all I do these days apparently. This is, of course, whatchamacallit, that thing that I've been working on for ages, that I've done loads of work on off camera that still isn't done and I haven't touched in a while, but I need to go back to and try and figure out what I'm doing next, because I have to build rooms and interiors, and frankly I don't want to do rooms and interiors at the minute. I want to do landscapes that look pretty, and I want to be outside in my Minecraft world, but I can't do that because of the way I've done my builds. So yeah, welcome. We are once again working in deep slate because that is the only block that I deemed appropriate for this, and also trying to remember to throw in little copper accents here and there, because that is what is necessary to make this kind of a copper golem underground palace thing that's meant to be some really cool big structure, but you can't see most of it. You see like the entrance, and that is it, because everything else is right under a massive mountain. Yay me. I'm also trying to do an upstairs to it, but I need to add more staircases in places so that this whole thing feels like it has dimension, because otherwise it's just like flat level corridors, like honestly as far as the eye can see. When I go in spectator mode, it's certainly an interesting thing to look at. But hey, I'm using TNT because that makes my life a lot easier. It clears out the tunnels, and now that I actually know how TNT can be used efficiently, that's relatively easy for me. Yay. So here I am digging out tunnels, kind of starting to put in designs of what I want to see. I don't really know what I was going thought process wise here, other than just trying to work out how I wanted different bits to look, because there was no plan going into this build. There rarely is a plan going into my builds, to be honest. So it was a lot of trial and error, and then mining sections out and TNTing more of it to make it just a more efficient way to remove it. Adding more walls. So yeah, there's that. I now have 3 Lego Formula 1 cars. I'm very happy. I don't know if I talked about this in any previous episodes. But yeah, I have 3 Lego cars now. I really want to get the F1 movie car. But also they have the Lego Technic of, is it Rexy? The green dinosaur car that I can't remember what series it actually races in, but I think it's awesome and I want a dinosaur car. I also don't know how good I'll be at putting together Technic Lego. I struggled enough with basic Speed Champions Lego. I'm not always that efficient at it, and also trying to put together small pieces is something I'm struggling with at the minute, because I've been trying to learn to use this new thumb brace thing I have to wear at times, and it's yeah, it's an interesting one. Anyways, here's what I think I was explaining in a previous thing of I didn't put the floor in, and I'm really hoping I haven't accidentally used the same footage. Touch wood, but if I have, you're getting the same footage again. And I'm trying to connect up all of these chests under the floor to this copper chest so that everything will filter back out and into the copper chests, and then all of the golems will organise things. Now, the one thing I had to try and remember was how to do the hoppers. So I went back and I looked at a previous one, came back out of it, went round to where I was, did the roof for procrastination, and then started adding in the hoppers. Now it does have to have a minecart in, because that's the only way I could get it to work, and in hindsight what I wish I'd done was send it going round in a circle so that I could have multiple carts going, but also I worried that if anything unloaded it would just break the system, so it's easier to have the one cart shuttling back and forth. But you still need to get everything out of the hoppers. And I decided to test this just with eggs because I had eggs in my inventory. I always have eggs in my inventory at this point. And just make sure that everything's flowing through the hoppers and then have them all start to interconnect up. This is the bit that I probably struggled with the most because instead of it just being like, oh, connecting 2 streams of hoppers together, no, I had to connect it for 5 different chests because I was going to do 5 different things. However, I don't think the things really stay in the correct ones because I don't think I put enough items in for it to filter out at like the right pace, to be honest. But yeah, also I don't know if you can, I really hope there's a way that you can slow down hoppers, because if you can, I'm gonna find that out and I'm gonna do it. But it also has to be something that doesn't require complicated redstone, which I imagine it probably would. I also then had to make sure to add in plenty of powered rails to make sure it went back and forth, and then also work out how on earth to get things going back and forth without locking hoppers, because I think that's a thing that happens. So it means it comes around this corner and then shuttles back. So yeah, that's my super efficient way of doing things. I'm so proud of it. I'm really not. It's a mess. And then also making sure that it can get up and around corners properly and not have blocks in the way is another thing that I sometimes struggle to get my head around. Then I covered it all up, covered the whole floor in, and decided, okay, right, we're going to put in more chest things, specifically ender chests, because I realised those would be helpful to have in my Minecraft world, because then I can put things that I don't actively need in my inventory in there, and I can go get them another time. Namely, all of the different pots that I've come up with, and I guess banner patterns can go in there. I should probably put them in, like, bundles, but bundles also seem a bit annoying. And then I decided to fill up my inventory with cobblestone for some reason, probably in the hopes that if I went and did more TNT, I wouldn't keep getting loads and loads of it in my inventory, because I think that's what I was planning to do and then didn't do. So I started by blocking off the ends, because that would be the only way to keep the copper golems in, and then set about spawning in some golems over here. Actually, no, first I collected Paul, Stephen and Bertie and took them over here. And then unleashed them. And then I added a few others that haven't been named yet. Probably will get named eventually. They just got the tag that says animal. Because that's how I make sure things don't despawn, or at least that's how I assume it works. And then I added 2 little guys in here, and they now run that section that Paul, Stephen and Bertie were doing. What do I do next? Then I grabbed copper, and I dumped loads and loads of copper into the chests as quickly as I could, filling them up and hoping it floods into the system. Now, I should have done this more efficiently. What I really need to do is I need to stop all the golems, gut the entire system, take out all of the stuff in there, and organise it so everything should, in theory, filter through. I did not do that. I'm probably not going to bother doing that, because frankly, as long as they keep going round and around, I don't totally care. But putting in the amethyst was honestly a bad idea. It just made it more challenging. This is also the point in which I realised this is way too dark in here, and added a bunch of lanterns, because I've been doing everything in night vision and all the corridors are dark and frankly quite creepy. Had to wait for the cart to go past, then crossed, and then started trying to filter in some other items and start mixing everything up. This hasn't really worked in the long run. I've played several hours since, and it has kind of all undone again, so we're just going with it, and oh, I don't know why I'm yawning. Hopefully at some point things will just magically work. But yeah, I kept finding that there was always loads and loads of specific blocks, so I tried to put in a singular redstone at certain points, just try and get it moving, and start filtering other items through in the hopes the hopper will pick up a mixture of things. I don't believe it did, but hey, the golems were happy. They had plenty of items to go and sort. Even if I had to consistently remove things from the various chests to try and stop them putting amethyst in the copper chest, because that's not where the amethyst goes, and they kept putting copper in any other chest. Frankly, I think there's too much copper in the system, which hasn't helped. And then I tried to add placeholders. Adding placeholders did not work, because I don't understand how they work. So I will have to figure it out at some point. And to be fair, I suppose when you have placeholders to help filter items, they're not meant to go round in a circle and filter back out, which probably is the reason it didn't work. So yeah, there was that. And then I added multiple carts, realised multiple carts was not going to work, because they wouldn't always reach up entirely, and then decided to break one of them eventually because it was just not getting anywhere. Apparently I watched it for a while. I don't really know why I just watched. I think I was trying to run the system for a few minutes just to see how it was going to go, and then went back up, discovered that the copper chest was empty, and frankly gave up with it. So goodbye the internet.